Are we live now?
Yeah, yes.
On Facebook.
We're live.
On Facebook?
Hi.
Hey!
We're live there, we're going to be live there.
Yeah, you're live on this one.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going live on Unify.
Yes.
Live on Unify.
Oh.
You're assuming I can read that from you.
I'll read it up.
I've done that before. I have somebody way in the back of the room flashing cards at me, and I'm like, what is doing?
This meditation was
10 minutes.
Drunvalo took me by my hand on this meditation. In the sacred space, it was this door. He opened the door, and I looked. I said, I'm not going to jump. And Drew said, no worries. And he pushed me. And I was going like in this, like a vortex, but around vortex, when I was going, there were these trees and flowers and stars. And I would see waters, and there were like thousands of galaxies. I was like the end of something and the beginning of something. You know, suddenly I stopped. You know, like I was in the ocean. You know, swimming. You know, it was so good. You know.
In this last meditation?
Last meditation.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I would love to hear what you guys' experience are.
It was amazing.
You're live now on Facebook, so on Unified, have fun. You know, take your time and wherever you guys are.
Okay.
Yeah, what was your experience?
Again, welcome everybody. We have a special guest here.
Yeah, I'm very special.
You are.
I'm the only one here, you know, the only woman here.
So, for
That's
both,
why we chose you.
Oh, thank you.
for both of you,
No other choices, huh?
for Drunvalo and Agathi, a really important question, I think, for the whole humanity. Creation 2019, we have a couple of days left, 2018, and we have to face it. It was a tough year, 2018, a lot of energies were coming, so we changed. But 2019, we see from creation point of view as a really interesting year. What do you think, guys?
I see a lot of transitioning, I see a lot of change. I don't know how you see it, but I see from around the world. People are ready, willing, moving.
Well, I don't see the images so much as it's going to do a certain specific thing, because we're talking about almost 8 billion people, and they're creating the future, and of the human future anyway. And I just have to have faith in the cycles, because they have been going on forever on Earth, and we're here at this moment in this very special place in the cycle, and it's my feeling in my heart. It isn't what the angels or guides that I've been using have actually told me. I feel this thing now, which I haven't felt for a long time, that we are coming to this point now, finally. And it feels like very early into 2019, or even this year it still happen. But, and it's for other reasons too, because of the Hopi prophecy and the Mayan prophecy and other native prophecies, that they're also leading in that direction toward 2019. I'm going to assume it is, because I think it's time for us to really start focusing. The last 3 or 4 years, we were going through chaotic cycles. And but if you've noticed in the last couple months, everything that was chaotic is starting to become back into balance. And so we've come to this time that we've been waiting for a long time. And we just need to, like I said in the meditation, we stay in our heart, we breathe from our heart, and whatever we need to do to cooperate with this change, it will come to you. You will know exactly what to do. You don't have to go in and get really serious about anything or anything. It just will, here's what you do, and you'll just know it. And the male energy is going to diminish in the way that it has been. I'm not saying it's a bad thing or a good thing. It's just its power is going to diminish, and the female power is going to increase pretty dramatically in the beginning. And they'll find a new balance, whatever that means. They'll find a new balance, and we'll begin a new dance of life. And I think it's perfect. But it does mean that when this begins, there's a dimensional change that begins to take happen. This is a whole other part of everything. You guys may want to talk about that. I don't know, but we are so
Blessed.
blessed. Yes, that's the word. So blessed to be alive at this time and to be in this inner circle of knowing what is happening on these levels, because most of the world has no idea. They're just living this thing and going, oh my God, what is going on here? When in truth, it is perfectly ordained and divinely oriented. It's perfect. And so we don't have to be afraid of anything. In fact, the less afraid you are and the more happy you are and the more almost silly you are, the better that everything goes. That life accepts that, and that joy increases the balance of life. Because hatred and all that darkness and stuff, it just makes it worse. It doesn't make anything better. Happiness and joy, that's what makes life better. Childlike, yes.
Yeah. You know, people sometimes want to know what's coming next, like it's something fixed. But the change and the energy flowing, it is also letting go of the fixed, what we thought we knew, and then allowing the flow to come in whichever way it goes, because it's divinely guided. And that's, I believe, it's a new aspect of the feminine energy coming into the plant, that we should be able to flow and change and play and enjoy everything that's coming to us.
Yeah.
Without judging, good or bad,
Yeah.
nice or not so nice.
So, because you're female, I'm asking the question, what is going on inside of you where you can feel these changes? Could you tell us about that?
You know, we've been talking about, you know, different things lately, and I've been listening, you know, all these years to a lot of explanations about how the world is, or how it's structured, or, you know, dimensions and all this stuff. And when I listen, my mind doesn't really understand all of it, but I can sense, it's like internally I know I'm intuitively guided towards all that, and I don't need to try to mentally, like I've accepted that I don't need to mentally understand every aspect, you know, that is out there.
I believe you don't have to mentally understand anything really, because the female does it from logic. So you can create anything you want, any way you want, and it's going to happen, and the guys are just going to go, how did that happen, you know? You're not going to understand.
But this has been a challenge in at least, I believe, in lots of women's life, because in order to be accepted in this world, or to be successful, the way we determine, you know, we define success, being successful, you had to be able to go into the structure and understand the structure, and not just understand, but also work from these, you know, handle these. And I believe that now the change that at least I feel is that the feminine is it's so powerful, it's so beautiful, and it flows, and you flow with it. You accept that it is how it is, and that you understand it, you feel it, you know it, because it's a knowing, and it's not a thought. It's an embodiment of the whole thing, and you just align yourself with that, and then everything, you know, everything falls into place. We were talking about, you know, the alignment of the body and the energies, and for me, from my experience, it's intuitive. I don't think about it, and if I think about it, I block it. It doesn't work for me. So I've stopped trying to think about it. Just go where my heart takes me.
I agree with that, for sure.
For me, it's really interesting to listen. We have a great master in sacred geometry, and a master in sacred geometry. She was one of the 7 masters who put the Merkaba in Bermuda Triangle, and I was listening yesterday and 2 days ago. We were talking about some stuff that for me is really interesting. All these energies, how they mold, and about cosmic grace, and about these lines coming, and all the things how intertwine. And Agathi was telling this story about this spaceship that actually recently visited Vancouver Island, and these beings were coming, talking with her, and Drunvalo, he was talking about the same guys, and we have a lot of visitors. Yeah? In the last couple of years, it's like here is like an airport, for God's sake. They are coming from all over the universe. These guys, they just want to say hello and tell us they love us, right?
Oh yeah.
They want to help us to understand this.
Most of there's just a small part of the universe that is still trying to understand what's going on, and that's been a problem with human consciousness for a while. I think this is finally coming to the place where we're going to balance even that. This is the reptilian nations that are all over, and how they survive. But I think there's another way that they can find balance. But most of life is just so happy that we're finally coming to this place that they just want to do whatever they can to help us in any way they can. So that's going to be obvious, I think, next year. Because once we get past a certain point, then the rules are different. We can begin to visualize. We could see them, and we can do a lot of things. Even though before, not everybody has transitioned into this whole thing. We can still do this, and ETs will probably be a prominent aspect. Whenever, if it's this year or next, whenever it is. The ETs have told me, the ones that I've worked with anyway, they've all said, when we get to this point, we will become part of humanity and function with them to help them to understand that they have great power inside of them. And we just need to know this. We've forgotten who we are. It's really understandable when you know the history of humanity, but we don't have to do this anymore. We don't have to at all. All this stuff can just go away, and males and females can just say, let's birth something new that we all want. Everybody wants. And it's not only good for us, but good for all life. The bad guys, the good guys, everyone. And so doing that brings everybody into the place where they come into balance. If we leave someone out, we leave everyone out in a way. We have to get everybody into this cycle. And we know how to do this because we've done it many times before. We've been in this place before. This is not the first time. But this one is a little different.
So we're living in the past in a way, right?
From my point of view, yeah, we're quite a bit in the past. We're a little over 1 billion years in the past.
What about Mother Earth? Do you think Mother Earth, she's already in the 4th dimension, in an octave there, and she keeps us like artificially here because we are not, we don't make the step yet?
Well, she has an aspect of her in all the dimensions. In this universe, there's 144 dimensional levels. And she is connected in one way or another in all those places. She's not in jeopardy, and if you're worried about her, don't worry about her. She is fine.
We are worried about ourselves.
Just worry about yourself and us.
Mother Earth is good. We have a problem.
But don't even worry about us. Just be happy. And that's
Yeah, we have to be happy.
Worry also makes it not worthwhile.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Okay.
Drunvalo, over these last 3 years that you've been in seclusion, what have been your? This is a question actually for all three of you. What is the vision that's come to you? So you've been kind of an inward journey in seclusion, attuning, in your own practice, in your own meditation, which I think is a necessary process. No, what were the fundamental things? Would you be so kind to share with us, what the fundamental things are that you experienced over these last 3 years internally, and then I'd love to hear from Agathi and Daniel as well, and that each of you are brilliant souls and have been on the inward journey and experiencing so much. Let's bring what's at the most private, precious things outside for this audience that's here watching and listening, and probably wanting the deep, dirty secrets.
Okay.
Go for it.
Well, we had, as we get close to this time when things are to change, the male side of the cycle kind of freaks out. And it...
and we can see it in politics.
Oh yeah, you see it in politics for sure.
It's really freaking out there.
But They do. They freak out because they realize that something's going to change and they don't really understand what to do yet. And so it's become very bad in the last year, and especially the last few months. And this is natural. But again, we're right on this thing here where the feminine energy is going to come in stronger. And as soon as the females realize how their connection to God and life and everything, they're going to put this in hyperdrive, and it's going to just take off, and they will be in control completely for a while, and it's okay. It's really okay. They got to birth this new thing, and they're the ones that do it. And we guys can just sit back and relax. I've been looking, in terms of prophecy of this, which you were mentioning in there, I was asked to follow and study the prophecies of the world. So I just said, if anybody in the native world wants to talk to me about this, invite me, because I'm not going to come on my own. And slowly I got invitations all around the world, and I got to hear what they had to say about their prophecies. And there were ones that were so very important in all this. I mean, the Kogi and the Arhuacos, that's 2 of 4 tribes in Colombia. Their understandings are very deep because they go back in time for so long, and so the prophecies, when you really begin to hear them from all the various people, are so similar. They're so much the same. Some of them are identical. The Hopi and I was sitting in Guatemala with Don Alejandro Cirillo and grandfather Eric, who is from the Hopi tribe, who is the last living member of the Bluebird Society, and they are the ones that write down the history of the Hopi. And so I was in a council of 25 elders from 25 different Mayan tribes, and those two talking about the Mayan prophecy and the Hopi prophecy. After about 2 hours, maybe a little longer, they both realized, came to a realization, and what they said was, okay, we're identical. They're not similar, they were identical. And then it was followed in that was the fact that the Hopi did not come across the Bering Strait like scientists said, but they came from Guatemala. The Guatemalan tribes sent them forth. This was like almost 1,000 years ago. And they sent them forth to come to this desert place here in the 3 mesas of Arizona. And they knew why they were here. Nobody else knew why they were here. And so they got prophecies while they were here, and buried them in the ground in a pipe, ceremonial pipe, for 200 years, knowing that was a little early. And so when they came back 200 years later here in this one, when we were down in Guatemala, they released all those prophecies to them. And the one thing I do know from all the other prophecies that could only come up to the point where they could see that there was something huge coming soon. But they didn't see what the Mayans saw. And they actually knew from the Mayan calendar what was going to happen in the past. They knew that all the male things that had been built will all be destroyed and all get wiped out. And this new structure will come in from, or might not be so structural, but a new way of being will come in from the female part. And then they told the world about half of the prophecy of what we know. We know that the male cities and ways of thinking and all that stuff just crumbles like sand into the ground again. But they refused to talk about what was going to come in the future. And I didn't understand why they were doing it until I was listening to them, and they began to tell what they saw coming in the future. And those things were so ridiculous by our male understandings of the world. They were afraid, they told us, they said these words, we were afraid to tell the world what we know is coming, because if we tell them this, they will lose all credibility and will not listen to the
Nobody
prophecy.
would believe them.
They wouldn't believe them at all. But what they said is that we're coming in, as soon as the females take over and we begin to open in this thing, one of the first things that begins to happen is that we learn how to be in our hearts, and we learn how to move in the universe. And we very quickly get to a point where we can become anywhere in the universe instantaneously, in 0 time. It doesn't take anything, you're just poof, you're there. And we will understand all languages in existence, all ways of communicating. We'll know it all, no matter who's in front of us and how they're communicating. We'll just know it, it'll just be part of us. And that, so humans will be able to be free.
One heart.
One heart. And we will be, the quarantine that we have been in for so long, we can't leave the earth, ends. And we are able to be anywhere. And that's when we begin to realize our freedom and what all this means. But we could never reach this from just purely a male point of view. We need both. And so as a female comes in and we link with the two, then we will have a whole new life. And there's a lot of other things, but they really are kind of crazy, so I'll just let them
Too
go.
much.
Crazy's good. Trust me, we're totally in.
Well, the other one is and I actually know how it happens now. We will gain control of our own DNA, and we will be able to be in appearance of instantaneously any form we want. We can be human, we could be male, we could be female, we could be child, we could be anything. But we could also be a Black Panther or an eagle or anything else, and actually live it for as long as we want, and then go to another form. And so we will do this because, more than anything, because it's fun, it's exciting, and it's freedom. But that always gets old after a while, and we begin to realize that there's other things that we could do besides just that. And that's when it really gets interesting. We begin to understand how to move in all these other dimensional levels, and they're so different than here. And the expansion is really amazing, and I could hardly wait to experience this myself. I mean, I know this coming in, but it's been a long time, and if I could get back to that place, that would be so much fun. I mean, you talk about becoming a child. You can really be a child if you want. You can be a little baby. You can be anything you want. And the mathematics and everything has been given to us, exactly how we do this. All you have to do is understand it, and that's all going to come to you through unified.org in the next few months. And as we develop it and put it out, we'll show you the mathematics. And when you see those mathematics, one thing you'll know, this was not made by human beings. It isn't calculus. It isn't anything of those kind of levels. It's a very simple system of only 9 numbers. 9. And those 9 numbers are able to create everything in existence. And it's so simple that only God could create something this easy and so simple that could do such complicated things. And I am really honored when the time comes that I can show this to you, because just in the seeing of it, just in watching it happen, you transform. You can't help it. You become different. You know that everything you've been told before is just bullshit. It's not true. The truth is this, and these other things that you'll begin to see, and it's all being prepared to give to you in a clear way, simple way. So, I don't know. Somebody else talk.
I like signal too.
Yeah.
So you told me.
It's been so complicated so far. Everything seemed, or even if it wasn't complicated, people wanted to understand it in a complicated way. And if it wasn't complicated, it's like, it's not good enough. But
But it's really the other way around.
Yeah.
And science and mathematics are that way too. They know When you could solve a problem with super complicated mathematics, and then you can solve it in simple one little thing, da, 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 da. And what are they going to accept? The complicated? They go to the simplest one, because they know that the simpler it is, the closer it is to God, to the source of health, of everything.
Oneness. Yeah, of course.
So, anyway, keep talking.
Okay, I'm
This
gonna keep
is
doing.
exciting. It's really exciting, I think, for the audience to hear all this. How about Agathi and Daniel? Like, what of your, you've been doing this work in how many countries now?
Oh,
I haven't counted, but many countries
Many
around
countries.
the world.
Something like over 100 cities
Yeah.
last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. In the work, what have you seen progress? And could you share with us what your inner insights have been in your practice as well? Like, in applying the technologies, like what have you discovered? What have you discovered over the last, month, the last year?
Do you want to, or shall I?
you do stuff.
Okay. So, I mean, for me, from my perspective, what's going on? I mean, the last years we've been traveling so much and meeting people from all around the world. And prior to that, I have to say that I thought the world was structured in a different way. And suddenly, going around the world and meeting people, I realized that it's not that way, and it's so much, more simple, and people are actually looking for the same thing.
Yeah. And we are that way, though. That's what I found too, is that it seems like they're different. And but when you get there and talk to them and hold them, they're the same as you are.
Exactly. and you see yourself in everybody, and that's, sometimes our society and the structure of this planet so far has been to divide people, to show them you're different because of this and because of that and because of that. But these are so small things that they're not truly there. They're an illusion of, the oneness that we are. And for me, I can see myself in everybody. It's amazing the people we meet. And anybody, I can see it, I can connect with it. And people have been, struggling. I have to say, people have been struggling the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's been hard.
And they're all looking for something, something has to change. This is not working, something has to change. And going around and, showing to people that you can live from your heart. And when you're in your heart, that's what changes. The whole world changes. Your perspective of life, of events is different. And that's how you should be. This is how you're going to get out of all this cycle of uncertainty and whatever, wrong has been going on. And this is how you're going to flow in life. And I feel that the last couple of months, this has been changing, that people started to figure out that it's simple, simple thing. I just have to trust myself. And to trust myself, I have to know myself. And I don't, I haven't read many things like in the spiritual world. Sometimes we go around and people are asking me, oh, have you read this? Do you know about this? And do you know about that? And I don't, because I was always guided in where I needed to go. And I started meditating on my own. I had my experiences. I understood the world or myself on my own. And then, as years come by, and I'm listening to this and listening to that, or reading a book, and I realized, yes, I've had this experience. Yes, I know what you're talking about, but I haven't read it. It wasn't here, and that's what I've been trying to share with the world. You don't need to understand it here. You need to experience it. You need to know it here. This is what's going to change your life. And you're saying all these beautiful things, and how we are transitioning, and how we are changing, and how we are unifying, and working all together. We were made to believe that I have to be different. I have to be a leader. I have to be the one in order to trust myself, to love myself. But it's not. And the moment we hold hands with each other, that's when we're going to grow, and that's when we're going to lift off. And I think people are starting to know that more. And I'm starting to know that more.
Yeah, I think everyone has a connection in one way or another to that. When you started to do meditation, when everybody started, they go, what is it? You know, you close your eyes and there's nothing there.
It's dark.
Open one eye, doesn't matter. But eventually you connect with the source of life. And when you do, then the source of life knows exactly what you need, and it just all begins to happen. And meditation is a natural thing. You could be by yourself on a planet and not another person alive, and everything you need will come to you if you allow it to. You just have to allow and let it open up. And but boy, are we the same all over the world. Even if we've taken into a place where we want to control everybody and everything else, that's just out of fear. It's just they're afraid, and so they're trying to control it. You know, they're trying to control the diversity and everything else, but that diversity is part of evolution. It's supposed to be there. God did that.
Yeah.
Not us. It's something that happens, and we should honor that diversity and realize that every person is connected in their hearts to God, whether they know it or not. And you don't need anything. You don't need a book. You don't need anything. You do need to be alive. You got to have a beating heart, and you got to have a brain that's kind of working. You don't have to have arms and legs or anything. You can just be in a wheelchair, and you got everything you need. You can ascend in the higher levels and do it. There's no reason to fear that you might be left out, because it's not possible. This is something I learned a long time ago. Every single person that lives in existence it's essential that that person be alive at that point where they are. And if they die, then they go to another place that is essential that they be. And so please don't be afraid of anything. You are immortal. You have been alive forever, and you're not going to go away. It's not going to end. And we can just create better and better worlds. We're about to create a new world, and after 12,000 years more, you go, well, it's not exactly the way I wanted to do it. And so we'll change it again, and we'll just keep changing it in that cycle that we're talking about. We'll keep changing it until we really get, oh, this is nice. You know, everybody's got all the needs, and we begin to understand the higher laws of consciousness that bring us into other places where there are other people that have reached these levels, and I don't know how it's going to work exactly, because it's up to all life everywhere. But you do know that you don't have to be afraid of anything.
It's a big awakening. I'm still surprised the speed the world is changing. If we think of the evolution of our planet and our humanity, last couple of years it's crazy. It was like this, and now it's a spike.
It's going up very fast.
I mean, each day, each second counts in our evolution. We go fast up there. So we were teaching in some areas, and 3 months later we went back to teach different people or the same people, and it was like new, like another place. You know, the people were changed.
Yeah, every time you go to a country and change some people there, it changes the whole world.
Yeah.
If they really get into, if they find their hearts, that's a big deal. And so I just want to thank you, Daniel and Agathi. Thank you for what you've done. I mean, I know there's a lot of other people that are in the School of Remembering. You have done a lot, very good thing for the world.
All are really good people, and Adil, thank you, Adil, for Unify is doing a great job. I'm really grateful for Adil and Russo and the whole team from Unify, and I can really see, sense, and feel a big change coming. Until now, because I was a science person, so I was reading a book like in 2 hours. I read on diagonal, so I read a book very fast, right? So I was the opposite of Agathi, I was reading thousands of books. So and suddenly I had to let it go. When I've done that, I start like swimming, and the river took me, and I feel so happy. And I met Adil and unified team, and you know, it was this message from Drew who said, just go and meet Adil, and you guys are going to change something. And I could feel it's coming, you know, as Drunvalo said. So all out there, guys.
It's time.
It's time for you just to
yeah.
relax, let it go. Don't cling on things or ideas or project. Just be ready for change any moment, any second. You know, I like this this guy, Dr. Wayne, guy, when he said, I don't have pockets anymore to my clothes, because when I go up there, I don't need anything. I'm not going to take. So, because we like to bring more things, and this is our purpose in life. But it shouldn't. We should just.
There's only one thing you need to take. That's your body.
Yeah.
So that you could establish yourself in the next dimensional level. But it's just an image.
It's an image.
It's not. It's just an image. And so even if you lose it and vaporizes or something, you still have it in your heart, and you can recreate it when you have to. You need to.
And you know how. When the time comes, you know how. And that's the beautiful thing that people sometimes don't understand, that when the time comes, you will know what to do.
Yeah.
It's inside of you. It's there. I don't know. It's how it should be, and we should trust. And that's the only thing, you know, that stops us sometimes, that we don't trust that it's there. We know.
It's like a little chicken in an egg. And it gets to the point where it's cracking out, and it's cracking out, and pops open. And as it's opening up, it's going, now what do I do?
You fly. That's what you do. You have to fly, right?
Well, that little chicken figures it out.
Yeah.
And we're able to.
So wherever you are, guys, from here it's, believe it or not, December 2018, and together with Drunvalo and Agathi and Adil and Russo and the whole team here, we just wish you a lot of love and light and harmony and peace.
And everyone out there in the world, too.
And everyone out there in the world.
Everyone.
Remember, we are all one, right? So we are all one heart. And
It may sound like words, but it's true.
It's
It's
literally
really true. It's literally true.
Yeah, I wanted to say, in getting to know you
Come
guys.
here.
Am I coming there? Over here.
Come here.
In getting to know you guys, you know, each of you, the one thing that I've been so left with, my entire team, is just the quality and purity of your hearts, like just your kindness and your playfulness, and you know, regardless of what you know, it's what you've embodied as you know, as your mastery. And, you know, a message, just a quick little message I have for the world. A teacher of mine once told me, he said, Adil, the light, it's light. I'm like, yeah, I know that. And he's like, no, it's light, it's playful. The light is light. I'm like, all right. And so, thank you for being the light. Thank you so much. And I just love you guys with all my heart. And I know everybody else is feeling the same way. And love you guys all out there as well. Thank you so much for tuning in and being with us on this beautiful day, and a lot more to come. Awesome. We'll wrap it up. Any last message? Any last keys to living as light, living in the heart that you would like to? A lot of people are suffering out there with the crazy world that's happening, but I'm sure this is good enough.
No, when you're in your heart, you know, it's just love. Oh, everything is passing through. You know, good changes, bad changes, nice. Everything will change, and that's the flow of life. But when you're in your heart, you can see the change, and you can see the truth in your own self, your truth.
Also, that space in the heart is important for ascension and all those kind of things, but you can heal anything from there.
Yeah.
At that point, you're connected directly to God, and whatever you say happens. Doesn't mean you're going to do it. You may not choose not to do it, but you can do it. If you say yes and put that intention there, that's what's going to happen.
Thank you.
You know, can I just say something before we close? Because some people ask, Angelos was asking me, we were teaching Angelos, so he's 7. to go to your heart. So
Wait,
how
here's-
it is to be in your heart.
Here's Angelos, one second. Angelos, we need you on camera.
And he said,
Oh, hi.
Hi. And he said, Mom, I don't know if I'm in my heart or I see the images and my brain is making these images. And I said, okay, what do you see? And he said, I'm in my heart and I see the universe. And I said, you're in your heart.
Yeah.
Because the universe is in your heart. So it's so simple and it's
Yeah.
So
The ancient ones called it a tiny space, so I was always like caves and things like that.
yeah.
But as I started teaching thousands of these people, I began to hear what they were feeding back, and lots of people would go into the tiny space there and they see the universe. So it's okay.
Beautiful. Daniel, what's the key? What's the key to living in the heart the way that you just
Love. Love. You know, this is the fuel of this body. Love.
You make it sound
What
so
would you tell them? Tell them
Exactly.
something.
What
Tell
would
them
you
something.
say?
What is
What
the
would
key?
you, how do you get into your heart? What do you say?
What do you do?
I close my eyes and I think of nice things and then I just go into my heart.
That's so easy. We have to put the
Thinking
same.
good things is a good point. It really is.
For a child, you just think as a nice thing and it drop down to your heart.
We've been joined by another ascending master
Yeah.
on planet Earth. Thanks, Angelos.
Yeah.
Thank you. We love you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Love you.
We love you. Okay.
Sorry.
I was inside myself. I was all over.
Great job, guys.